Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Roman Reigns is officially back in the fold after a month away, following the events of Clash in Paris 2025. However, not everything is well, as Jey Uso, in particular, wasn't happy with the message conveyed to his brother. The main event of Raw this week was the USOs versus the Brawns. I.E., Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. While that might sound like a conventional Raw main event these days, this was technically a tornado tag team match. Unlike WrestlePalooza, there was no LA Knight as the special guest referee. And when the time came, Roman Reigns emerged and took a steel chair, beating Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. In a huge measure of revenge for Clash in Paris 2025, he successfully did so, helping the USOs get their win back from WrestlePalooza. But what was more interesting was the final minute of Raw, where Roman Reigns addressed Jey Uso. He told him to F them all, as Raw belongs to Jey. He encouraged him to be selfish and take everybody out. And Jey Uso was listening to this in the background, visibly unhappy about what the OTC was telling Jey. Recently, Jey has taken on characteristics that are very similar to what the Tribal Chief had. And Jey Uso has been the most concerned out of everybody, fearing that his brother will end up losing himself. This week on Raw, Jey even made a shocking statement by telling Jimmy that perhaps winning the way he did last week via help from the Vision would get him back to where he was at the top of the card. But that wasn't the shocking part. It was the fact that he told Jimmy that he wouldn't know anything about that. Jimmy has been very disapproving of how his brother has acted, and Reigns has now reinforced that behavior. The WWE Universe witnessed one of the most highly anticipated moments in recent memory when Roman Reigns made his dramatic return to Raw after being absent for nearly a year. The Tribal Chief has always been at the center of WWE's biggest storylines, but his return this time carried even more weight. Not only did fans wonder if he would reclaim his position as the leader of the Bloodline, but there were also burning questions about where his loyalty truly lies, especially regarding his cousins, Jey and Jey Uso. When Reigns finally arrived on Raw, the atmosphere was electric. Fans cheered, others booed, but everyone knew something massive was about to go down. The last time WWE fans had seen Roman, the Bloodline was falling apart piece by piece. Jey Uso had walked away from him. Jimmy was caught in between, and Solo Sikoa seemed to be taking matters into his own hands. But this week's Raw gave fans a glimpse of how the story might take its next dramatic turn. Roman Reigns confronts Jey Uso during the second hour of Raw. Jey Uso was in the ring cutting a passionate promo about his journey since breaking away from the Bloodline. He spoke about finding his own identity, not being overshadowed by Roman, and proving to the WWE Universe that he could succeed as a singles competitor. Just as Jey was about to wrap up his speech, the familiar sound of Roman Reigns' entrance theme shook the arena. The crowd erupted. Roman Reigns walked down the aisle with his usual confidence, his head high and his eyes fixed on Jey. For a moment, the arena went silent, as if everyone wanted to hear the first words from the Tribal Chief since his absence. Reigns stepped into the ring, slowly circling his cousin before taking the microphone. His message stunned not only Jey, but also the WWE Universe. Roman told Jey that despite their differences, despite the betrayal, he still saw Jey as family and someone with greatness within him. "You've carried this company while I was gone," Roman admitted, to the shock of many fans. "But don't forget, you've learned all of this from me. You'll always be my blood, and no matter what, I'll always have your back." It wasn't a challenge. It wasn't an insult. Instead, it was almost a declaration of respect, something Roman had rarely shown to anyone during his reign as Tribal Chief. The sincerity in Roman's words caught Jey off guard. For the first time, fans saw Jey hesitate. Could Roman be genuine? Or was this yet another manipulation from one of the greatest mind game players in WWE history? Jey Uso explodes while Jey was processing the shocking message. Jey Uso stormed to the ring. His reaction was the complete opposite. Jey looked angry, betrayed, and frustrated. He got right in Roman's face and accused him of playing psychological games to break up the USOs once again. "You don't mean that, Us?" Jey shouted, his voice filled with emotion. "You've always been about yourself. You used us, broke us down, and then left us to pick up the pieces. Now you're back because you see Jey shining without you, and you can't stand it." The tension inside the ring was nearly unbearable. Roman remained calm, smirking slightly as Jey unleashed his fury. He responded with just a few words you wouldn't understand. "Jey, you never did." That line hit hard, instantly fueling speculation that Roman may have more respect for Jey than Jey. Jey, stuck in the middle, looked torn between the brother who's been by his side since birth and the cousin who once led them to unprecedented success. This triangle of family conflict has always been the foundation of the Bloodline storyline. But Roman's return reignited the feud in a fresh and emotional way. Why Roman's message? Matters Roman Reigns' stunning words to Jey. USO may go down as one of the most pivotal moments in this long-running storyline. It wasn't just about dominance or control. This time it was layered with vulnerability and recognition. Roman admitting that Jey carried WWE in his absence is significant. It gives credibility to Jey as a single star and further complicates his future choices. This moment also highlights WWE's storytelling genius. Instead of making Roman's return purely about reclaiming his throne, they've added nuance. Roman is still the tribal chief in his mind, but he also seems willing to acknowledge Jey's growth. This makes fans question whether Roman truly wants reconciliation or if he's planting seeds for a bigger betrayal down the line. Jey's growing frustration. Jey? USO's role in this saga shouldn't be overlooked. While Jey is getting recognition, Jey feels overshadowed both by Roman and now by his own twin. His angry outburst on Raw only reinforces the idea that Jey might eventually turn on Jey. In fact, Jey's jealousy and resentment could be the very fuel that leads to another explosive storyline between the brothers. Jey has always been protective of Jey, but he has also shown insecurity whenever Jey gains more spotlight. Roman's words may have unintentionally deepened that wound. Fans are already speculating that this could set up a Jey versus Jey singles feud, possibly at a major event like WrestleMania. The Bloodline's future Roman Reigns return to Raw and his stunning message to Jey Uso has opened multiple doors for WWE's creative direction. Here are some potential outcomes. Reconciliation. Roman and Jey could reunite, perhaps even reforming a version of the Bloodline. However, Jey would likely oppose it, creating a split. Manipulation. Roman could be manipulating Jey with kind words, only to strike when Jey lets his guard down. Brother versus brother. Jey's anger could lead to a heated feud with Jey, leaving Roman as the puppet master watching it all unfold. New tribal chief battle, with Roman's respect for Jey public. A future storyline could see Jey officially challenging Roman for the tribal chief mantle. Fan reactions. The WWE Universe exploded on social media after Raw. Fans praised the emotional depth of the segment, calling it one of the best storytelling moments in months. Many noted that Roman's subtle smirk after speaking to Jey hinted that he might still be pulling the strings. Others expressed excitement at seeing Jey caught between loyalty to his brother and the bond with Roman. This dynamic has always been the Bloodline's greatest strength, real family connections that blur the lines between fiction and reality. The addition of Solo Sikoa, who has remained silent in recent weeks, also looms large. Where will his loyalty fall? With Roman, with Jey, or will he forge his own path? Closing thoughts. Roman Reigns' return to Raw delivered exactly what fans hoped for: shock, drama, and emotional storytelling. His stunning message to Jey Uso was both unexpected and powerful, creating ripples that will impact not just the USOs, but the entire WWE landscape. Jimmy Uso's fiery response added fuel to an already raging fire, setting the stage for weeks of must-see television as the saga of the Bloodline continues. One thing is clear: Roman Reigns still has the ability to control the narrative, whether through dominance, manipulation, or rare moments of honesty. The Tribal Chief remains the most captivating figure in WWE. The only question now is whether Jey Uso will fall back under Roman's influence or rise above it once and for all, even if it means breaking away from both his cousin and his brother. Whatever the outcome, fans can be certain that this storyline is far from over. And with Roman Reigns back in the fold, the WWE Universe should prepare itself for even more shocking twists, heartbreaking betrayals, and unforgettable moments.